Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlie, and today we dive into Trump and his problem with Venezuela. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela have exploded into one of the most dangerous confrontations in the Western Hemisphere in decades, and critics say President Trump is once again dragging the country toward war, despite repeatedly promising Americans the exact opposite. Since late 2025, the Trump administration has launched an aggressive military campaign in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, officially framed as a counter-drug operation. U.S. forces have carried out more than 20 lethal boat strikes, many of them near Venezuelan waters, killing at least 95 people. These strikes were publicly celebrated by senior U.S. officials, even as human rights organizations, the United Nations, and lawmakers from both parties warned that the actions risk violating international law and escalating into open conflict. Rather than calming tensions, Trump has doubled down. The United States has dramatically expanded its naval and air presence in the region, seized Venezuelan-linked oil tankers, imposed new sanctions on shipping companies, and ultimately announced a naval blockade aimed at choking off Venezuela's oil exports, the backbone of its economy. Trump even declared Venezuelan airspace effectively closed, a move widely condemned as unilateral, reckless, and illegal under international law. To critics, this looks less like drug enforcement and more like economic warfare. Venezuela, for its part, has denounced these actions as acts of aggression, piracy, and colonial intimidation. The Maduro government has taken its complaints to the United Nations, warning that the United States is preparing the ground for an armed attack. UN officials have echoed those concerns, stating that U.S. actions violate core principles of sovereignty and non-intervention and pose grave risks to peace and stability in the Caribbean and Latin America. The Trump administration insists this is about fighting narco-terrorism. It has designated Venezuelan criminal groups and even senior members of the Maduro government as foreign terrorist organizations. Trump has raised the bounty on Maduro's head, authorized lethal military force against alleged drug traffickers, and declared the United States to be in an armed conflict with drug cartels, without congressional approval. But many experts say the justification doesn't hold up. Drug trafficking in the Caribbean is real, but it is not the primary driver of the U.S. overdose crisis. Fentanyl, which causes the vast majority of drug deaths in the United States, overwhelmingly comes through Mexico, not Venezuela or Caribbean routes. Critics argue that deploying massive naval armadas, bombers, drones, and 15,000 troops to hunt small boats is wildly disproportionate and suggests a far broader agenda. That broader agenda, many believe, is regime change. Operation Southern Spear, the name given to this expanding military campaign, has all the hallmarks of a pressure strategy designed to weaken, isolate, and ultimately remove Venezuela's government. Trump himself has openly floated the idea of land strikes, claiming without evidence that maritime attacks have almost totally stopped drug trafficking and that the next step will be action on land. While no formal invasion has been announced, the rhetoric alone has sent shockwaves through the region. Critics say this is where Trump's hypocrisy becomes impossible to ignore. Trump built much of his political brand on claiming he was the anti-war president, the one who would end endless wars and stop America from acting as the world's police. Yet now, in his second term, he is openly threatening military action, imposing blockades, and surrounding a sovereign nation with what he himself called the largest armada ever assembled in South American history. To Trump's opponents, this is not strength, it's desperation. Many believe Trump is escalating international conflict to distract from mounting domestic pressure. Declining public trust, internal party fractures, and renewed scrutiny over unresolved scandals, including the Epstein files. While no court has proven wrongdoing, critics argue that Trump has a long history of using chaos, outrage, and confrontation to dominate headlines and shift attention away from uncomfortable questions. At the same time, Americans at home are struggling. Inflation remains painful. Housing is unaffordable. Healthcare and education costs continue to rise. Infrastructure problems persist. Yet instead of focusing on these issues, Trump is investing enormous political and military capital into foreign confrontations that could spiral out of control. The risks are enormous. Short POW.